when it just makes sense. It's your red-pilled brown girl searching for the truth. It's your red-pilled brown girl when it just makes sense. It's your red-pilled brown girl get into the truth. It's your red-pilled brown girl.
Hey everyone, it's Crystal. It's your red-pilled brown girl coming at you. Oh my God, there is so much to talk about. Y'all, okay, so I know you saw my thumbnail and the Republican infighting. I'm gonna get to that. It really is just a little bit annoying, but just bear with me for a second while I kind of digest exactly kind of where I want to go with that by shouting out President Donald Jaquan Trump. Y'all, I love my president so daggone much. I love him. Like it's a love that just continues to get gooder and gooder. Like, and I'm really taking it personal. Um Republicans, or what we would say MAGA, who are like kind of criticizing him and saying what he's not doing and watching everything that is going on and being easily manipulated by it. And I remember when he was going through the whole Jeffrey Epstein, you remember when he was going through that, and he said, these people are weak. And he was like, I don't even want their support. And I kind of understand. I understand, and I actually agree with him, because the way that people are like flip-flopping and nitpicking and able to get distracted, and the left Democrat losers are able to convince you that this man is going against what he promised, is just honestly, it's just a whole level of a whole new a whole new world of weird. I mean, it really is, and it saddens me, because somebody can give their entire life to helping Americans and the Make America Great Again movement, and just trying to make sure that we have a country again. And in just a few months, so basically in 10 months or 9 months, should I say, you can turn on him. And I know this is not all MAGA. I know this is not all of MAGA. I know MAGA. We here, y'all. We locked in, right? But for the people who are allowing them to just criticize him over things like affordability. Are we really going there with affordability? Are we really going to go there? Cuz if they want to go there with affordability, y'all, we can go toe to toe, round for round, blow. They watched these people raise the price of gasoline legit after the election. Like after the election, it went like $5 a gallon in some places in California. And y'all want to talk about affordability after 9 months. He has dropped the gasoline prices, and they're hovering around $2. And when we say that, they just turn to something else. Oh, but the rents. You weren't saying any of this when you were voting Democrat from your $1,900 studio apartment in North Carolina. You weren't saying any of this. You weren't saying any of this when you were voting Democrat from your $4,000 box in New York City. And now this man who ran on bringing prices down and ran on affordability, you want to hang it over his head 9 months later. I'm just not willing to buy that. And honestly, MAGA, it's about time that we start bossing up on these people. Y'all, I be trying. I really do. I be trying to have some grace. I try so hard to be like, they don't understand. Or maybe they'll see, or they should be patient. But the way y'all be coming at him, it's really getting to the point where you're just flat out lying and you're disrespectful. And MAGA, I don't know if we should continue to just like play ball with them. Affordability, this is a man that bought trillions of dollars into the economy, into the American economy within 9 months. It was something like he's always said when he was from New York, when he was in New York, he said, any president can do this, but they're just retarded. Like, seriously, the presidents are stupid. Any president could have done it. And Biden, who was not the president, let's just keep it funky, the auto pen, couldn't do it. And you want to somehow hold President Trump to affordability. That's so dishonest. It is so manipulative. And MAGA, if you're allowing your friends and your family to somehow convince you that they care about affordability when they let ass go from $2 to $5 within months, don't talk to me about affordability. Please don't. Please don't. It was under the Biden administration that rents went up, that the price of cars went up. Everything measurably in your life got more expensive. Healthcare, everything declined. So please do not spare me the drama about affordability, because we're not hearing it. You don't care about affordability. All your little tweets and all your little posts about $5 gasoline was under Biden Harris, okay? Not under President Trump. And anybody knows that the gas prices can tell you what the cost of everything else is going to be. So it's the cost of everything. Fuel is the cost of everything. Heating costs and everything goes with the cost of fuel. And so for Donald J. Trump to be the one to start to gas prices down, believe me, everything else is going to come down, you guys. It has to. That's just the way that it works. And we need to be patient and watch him do his thing. We can't get discouraged. We can't get swayed by people who did not care when gas was $5. They didn't care. They didn't care at all. So excuse me if I'm a little edgy. Excuse me if I got an attitude problem. Because we're not talking about the fact that these people literally just lied. I got MAGA, or I got people that call themselves Make America Great Again, or call themselves conservatives, talking about, oh, well, Trump's not focused on America. What do you think he's focused on when he brings trillions of dollars into the economy? Trillions of jobs. He's over there fighting for us. Y'all sound like freaking brats. You sound retarded. You sound stupid. You sound like the ungrateful children and ungrateful wife that the husband goes out and makes millions and millions of dollars, or in this case, trillions and trillions of dollars. And all you do when he comes home and says, Daddy, you don't spend any time with me. Everything that person is doing is for you. Everything Donald Trump is doing for us. You think he's doing it for you? You think he's doing it for himself? Spare me the bull crap. Like when you hear them talk about, oh, Gaza, the investments in Gaza, that's to enrich himself. Newsflash, he don't need to enrich himself. Donald J. Trump can go to sleep at night and his children will eat for generations and generations to come. But yet and still, stupid people, stupid conservatives have convinced you that he is somehow allowing this genocide to happen to enrich himself. Really? Really? He don't need that. This man literally was rich before he came to office. Jared Kushner was rich before Donald Trump was ever even the president. But they have somehow convinced normies, regular people that don't get it, that they need to be enriched by Gaza. Oh, all of this is to build hotels on Gaza. Shorty been building hotels since the 80s, okay? In New York City. He don't need to build another. If Donald Trump never builds a single hotel again, trust me, it will be too. He will live. But for some reason, we're listening to these people on the right who have just lost their minds. I'm asking myself, like, who bewitched you? Like the Apostle Paul, who bewitched you to somehow think that a man who has given his life to this movement, he did not have to run. He did not have to run for president at all. He was already the president and he was already rich. He didn't have to run for president again. He didn't have to get shot at and his life destroyed and drug into court time and time again, while these losers who never built a single thing in their lives, like Letitia James, he had to be subject to a loser like Letitia James, to James Coney, to Fannie Willis. These people he wouldn't even talk to because they're so beneath him. He had to listen to them, take him back and forth to court, all to do something great and make this country have a chance, a fighting chance again. All for people to freaking turn their back on him. It is so disgusting. The amount of betrayal from morons on the right is probably more disgusting than the left. At least the left, let me tell you, the left is lockstep with each other. AOC, I know for a fact that probably a lot of them think that AOC is a dummy. Ask me one person that has come out and said it. Ask me one person. Ask me, let's take a poll. Which person on the left has come out and said she's a dummy? I know that people, especially Black people in office, don't like Jasmine Crockett. Jasmine Crockett was on Roland Martin's show and said there's Republicans that come up here and tell her, "Oh, we're scared of you because you're good." Sis, which one? Which? Jazzy girl, ain't nobody tell you that. Ain't nobody tell you that. Jazzy. If they told you that, it's because they want you to continue to look ignorant. Ain't nobody told you, "Oh, we're actually afraid of you because you're effective. You're so great. Every time you use the F-bomb, it's just amazing. You sound so intelligent. Especially when you chow. Oh, that really, really, really gets them going." Jazzy, ain't nobody told you that. Ain't nobody told you that, sis. No one has told you that. But my point is the left is in lockstep. And then we have the right that can't get it together. Can't get it together for the mission of making this country great again because they're so stupid. And maybe that's why for the longest time Democrats have ran this country to the ground because there's no fighters on the Republican side that actually gets it. And you know, it's really, really sad. It really is sad. And honestly, I am a 2020 conservative, okay? I did not vote for President Trump in 2016. So I put respect on all these 2016 conservatives, the ones who did not vote for Barack Obama, because I'm telling you, I was in the streets with Barack Obama saying, "Yes, we can. Yes, we can." Hope and change. And then I was needing some change. Because Barack Obama ran this place into the ground, but I was still ignorant. I didn't know. So when President Trump came around, I voted for Hillary Clinton because I was like, oh, well, she's got to be better. But then me being true to who I am, which if somebody gives me the data or gives me the facts in front of me, I will actually say, oh, okay, that makes sense. And President Trump did a good job in 2019, 2020. I wanted to reelect him. And for me, when I see people who I listened to in 2019 and 2020 and decided that I was going to be a conservative, now turn and twist and tell me what conservatism is now. And then they get mad at people like me to say, oh, well, you weren't there in the beginning. You were never there in the beginning. Well, you're not here. You're the person that you were here in the beginning is not here. Like the person you were is not here. I'm sorry, Candace Owens. You're not the same. You're not the same. Honestly, you're just kind of weird. And then everybody's talking about her whole podcast. She's like, oh, I'm number one. I'm number one. My podcast is number one in the world. Girl, drama is always number one. It's not because of what she's saying. It's not even because people actually agree with her. It's because of the drama, the betrayal. I mean, it's like a soap opera. Watching Candace Owens and what will she say about Charlie? What will she reveal? What will she say about Erica? I can't even turn it off. It's not because what she's saying is the truth. It's not even because what she's saying is because it's not even what she's saying is that we like it. It's just because it's drama. Shout out to her. Kudos to her. But make no mistake about it, sis. The divisions that she is causing is going to make it harder for her children. And that's why I cared more about what Candace Owens was saying in 2020. This is the Candace Owens that's talking about her children and the future of this country and making this country great again and fixing the issues in the Black community that she cared so much about. Oh, I care so much about the Black community. I care so much about the Black community. And then she starts talking about what's in the underwear of the president of France. You've changed, sis. You've changed. Now she's talking about Charlie Kirk. And everybody's like, oh, well, watching and the Jews and this and this and that. That's why people are watching. They're watching Tucker because of the drama. They're watching Tucker and Nick Fuentes because of the drama. Tucker has had plenty of shows. Nobody's watching all of his shows. They're watching because of the drama, not because it's so great. It's not. Which brings me to the infighting. That's why you guys are here. And this is what President Trump said. He don't really care. He doesn't really care about the support of you guys, people. I mean, like, he doesn't care about your support anymore because your support is so flaky. You're fair weather fans. When things look good and everybody's happy, you're happy. And when you feel like something is not going your way and not going in the direction in 9 months, let's make sure we say that, then all of a sudden you want to criticize and criticize so loud. It's disgusting. It really is. It's annoying. Betrayal is one of those things, you guys, everybody hates. Everybody from I'm telling you, I was watching one of them campaign ads. You remember one of those campaign ads where the guy was running and his siblings came out against him and went for the other person? Well, he ended up winning. Why? Because we might watch it. We might watch the betrayal happen because it's juicy and it's interesting, but we don't want nothing to do with that person. We don't want to, like, the person who betrayed, like, we don't want that. It's disgusting in all capacities. Whew. Sorry, you guys. I had to talk about my soapbox, which brings me to the whole Nick Fuentes, Tucker Carlson, and Ben Shapiro drama. Baby, I had to sip my tea because I was really trying to debate on how I was going to cover this. I had talked to a very, very good friend of mine. Shout out to Dave Anderson. I'm talking about very, very good friend. My new friend. He's my new friend. And I was like, how do I talk to this? How do I talk about this? Because I didn't really know how to. Um, and I felt like I didn't really want to comment what I truly thought because I do drama, y'all. But I don't really um like to well, that's not true. That's not true. I was about to say I don't like to choose sides, but that's actually not true. I do choose sides. And in this situation, I'm going to kind of just break it down and I'll let you know what side I'm on. I'm always going to be on the side of truth. I'm always going to be on the side of principle and morals most of the time. But in this case, Tucker Carlson interviewed Nick Fuentes. And Nick Fuentes, the whole world was up in a roar in a tizzy because Nick Fuentes is what they call a known racist. That's what people say. He's a racist, he's an anti-Semite, he's a bad person. This is what people say. I think personally Nick Fuentes, and I've been following him. I actually watch him because I think that he's very, very entertaining. Personally, I think that that's the extent of what I think about him. I used to think that he was a racist. I used to think that he was a formidable opponent to a Charlie Kirk or to a Tucker Carlson or even to a Candace Owens. But now I think a little bit differently. After watching him for several months now, I realized that he's an entertainer. He's an entertainer. Nick Fuentes has talked about things that he knows will get people in an uproar. I'm going to share with you a clip that Roland Martin actually shared because I think that it's really, really funny. And Nick Fuentes gets kind of like a hard on about these kind of stuff. Like he gets excited when he says things that could potentially be offensive. So let me show you. Let me let me show you. And I think he loves, not I think, I know for a fact Nick Fuentes loves to be controversial. I think that's the youngin in him. Now, mind you, Nick is only 27 years old. Real quick. Hold on. All right. Let me share this clip with you guys because I think that it'll give you some context. Doo, 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 doo.
Say that everybody kind of realizes women need to be taken down a peg. Women are in control. Women are running our lives. They're clearly not up to the task. They need to be taken down a peg. And equally, just like the obfuscation with Jews, you have all these people saying, no, 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 that's not the problem. The problem is modern women. They say it's all these degenerate modern women. You need to find yourself a good girl who's traditional and Christian and conservative. It's like they're telling us what to do too. They're talking way too much too. Half the time when you go on Twitter and you have some stupid bitch wagging her finger in your face, she's a Christian. She's got a Proverbs in bio. She's got a Bible verse in her bio.
That's true, y'all. That's so true. Keep going.
People say, no, it's just those degenerate, modern, left-wing, blue-haired feminist girls. I want a good trad Christian girl. Half the time it's the girls with the Bible verses in the bio that are the problem. So they're always coming up with, no, it's not the Jews. No, it's not women. No, it's not blacks. It's actually really complicated. No, it fucking isn't at all. Jews are running society. Women need to shut the fuck up. Blacks need to be imprisoned for the most part. And we would live in paradise. It's that simple. It's literally that simple. Anyway, that's the big picture.
You see how he laughs, right? So that's that Roland Martin put that particular clip up, and I thought that was funny because Roland Martin, all you need to do is insert race and he just gets so offended. Nick Fuentes does believe that blacks are inferior. Like just an inferior species. He believes that white people have the secret sauce when it comes to genes. And I guess what I feel is like he's entitled to feel that way. I don't believe that. But he believes that, but I think he's stupid for believing that. When I talk about people who are racist, right? One of the things that I always say about racist people, I say that they're stupid because if they don't want to be around me because of the color of my skin, then they're missing out on the best friend that they could possibly have because I'm a really good friend. I'm a really good employee. If they don't want to hire me because of my skin color, it would be but they'll be missing out because I'm confident in who I am. And so Nick Fuentes is saying these things and he's allowed to say them because he's American, he's in America and free speech. I think it's ignorant and I think that he is trying to be funny really. If I don't think anything else, I now know that Nick Fuentes is really an entertainer. I mean, he really is. And he said that on the Candace Owens interview that he had, and he was like, yeah, you're gonna tone police me and how I say things. These are all jokes. I'm joking, blah, 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 blah. And honest to God, you guys, I really think that that's the truth. I think that in order for him to keep the lights on, he feels like he has to do that. Hold on. Sorry, guys. I think he feels like he has to do that. It's the way that he's made his money. he's made his money off of being very, very offensive. He's garnered tons of influence based on being offensive. And that's kind of what he does. I don't think that he's a formidable opponent at all. He thinks that he is. But when I see Nick Fuentes, and I'll say this in a kind way, because I don't really want to disrespect him, because I actually think he's lost. I think he's lost, especially when you hear his especially when you hear his story, and how things kind of happened, where he had a bright future. He was supposed to be the future of conservatism. He's been in politics since he was in middle school. He said that he was interested in politics. So I do think that he is a bright young man, or he was a bright young man, but he lost his way when he felt the way to become powerful and strong is to be um just so disrespectful. He's like, seriously. And I say that to say, I understand, I get the reason why he's disrespectful. So he'll say, well, I'm disrespectful because people are disrespectful to white people, which is true. So he's and whenever he talks about people coming at him, he says, if you come at me first, I'm gonna come back at you. So I get it. He's from Chicago, he's from the hood. So I get Nick Fuentes. What I will say, though, is I believe that he is going to get a lot of people, AKA a lot of the January 6th type people, to go into the fire for him, that he's not going to go, because he's having a good time. He's entertaining, he's motivating people to, quote unquote, take back their country. However, he has made it very, very clear that he is not going to jail. He does not believe in violent revolutions. He doesn't believe in any of those things, when all of what he's saying, to take back his country, to retrieve it from the Jews, to kick out all of the immigrants, to do all of that requires you to have some balls. All of that requires you to fight. All of that requires you to possibly go to jail or possibly have a violent revolution. But he thinks that he can just kind of talk everybody through it, like, like a maze. He's like, oh, go do this, go do that, and encourage everybody to do it. And he's already said that he ain't going to do it. So I don't know what white people are going to do. This is my issue with white people. Y'all don't have no children. Y'all not bout it like that. You don't want to go to jail. You don't want to fight. Fifth Amendment, Second Amendment, all y'all want to. A lot of y'all just too Christian, too Catholic, that y'all don't want this work that these immigrants is got out to give y'all. Y'all don't want this work. And so your plan is kind of, I don't know. So that's what I feel about Nick Fuentes. Your plan is kind of, it's kind of up in the air, bro. You're not willing to go to jail. You want to leave your people out. You're not willing to the violent revolution. But these folks, these immigrants coming, they want this work. They want this work. And unfortunately, I think Nick Fuentes is leading people to this down this path that I don't think he's willing to go. So I'll say that about Nick. So Nick is anti-Semitic. He is saying all these rude things. And I kind of feel bad for him, you guys. And let me tell you why. Hold on. I'm about to upload this video. And I think that this will put this in context for how I feel about Nick, y'all. Y'all are gonna be like, "Ooh, wow." Hold on. This is gonna be This is going to be put in context for you with Nick. This is going to put it in context for you with Nick. Nick, hold on. Sorry, guys. It's coming up. It's coming up. It's coming up. It's coming up. Nick, yeah, Nick is sad. This right here will kind of make you kind of understand where Nick is going. I sent this clip to my husband and I said, I get where Nick is coming from. In this clip, he is basically spazzing out and he says he doesn't care about the Holocaust anymore. He was like, that happened long time ago. Everybody who was affected by the Holocaust or who was guilty of the Holocaust, they're dead. He said, we are going through our own Holocaust, meaning he's talking about white people, white men, white women. And it kind of put things into perspective for me that I don't think that Nick is able to articulate what he feels. He doesn't like when people say he's a monster. I don't know if he's a monster. I don't know him. I would sit down with him. I don't think he's a monster. I do think he's misguided. And so he says, so this clip will kind of give you a a a little bit of insight into where Nick is. Here we go. It's processing, you guys. All right, guys. It's coming. All right, so when it comes up, I'll when it comes up, I'll talk through it. But and I'll say this. Tucker is platforming this guy or whatever that means. I don't believe that he's platforming because Nick had a platform. Nick has a huge platform actually where people want to hear what he has to say. Disadvantaged white boys. I believe that white hatred is really a thing. And it's so sad because I personally believe that we are all.
We don't want to hear about it.
Sorry.
We don't care. We're in the middle of a Holocaust. We don't want to hear about it. We don't care. We're in the middle of a Holocaust. Do you know what's happening in Europe and the United States? The white population is being genocided. Where there used to be pillars and cathedrals where there used to be order, where there used to be science and reason, now there is chaos and death and crime and superstition. And that is because all of these countries were white, were Christian, and now they're not. You want to talk about a Holocaust? We're in the middle of a Holocaust. We're in the middle of our Holocaust. What's going to happen in 100 years when our great-grandchildren wake up and they're 10% of the population in a minority and it's like South Africa? What's going to happen in Canada, in the United States, in the United Kingdom, when in the year 2100, white children will wake up in their beds and they will be subjected to land reappropriation like they're doing in South Africa right now, like they did in Zimbabwe a generation ago? We're in the middle of our Holocaust. You want to talk about yours? We don't care.
Whose fault is it? I don't know. Like, this is what bothers me about whites like this. Nick, your population is in rebellion. White folks are not being genocided. White folks hate themselves. I'm sorry, you're one of the few that love yourself, but you have a whole population of people that have betrayed your race. They have aborted your babies. They have literally imported immigrants. Y'all came up with things like DEI, which put skin color over your own children. Y'all don't go into politics anymore. Y'all pay taxes and get kicked. You allow people to scream, "We hate white people." These stupid white people, idiot, mediocre white boys is what you allow your sitting Congress people to do, to treat you any kind of way. And you act like you somehow deserve it because maybe at one point in time, somebody with your similar skin color enslaved some people, some brown people. So some people with your skin color went over to Africa because they needed somebody to help them to till the land of their newly found land over here, and y'all somehow act like you deserve it years later. So that's not you being genocide. Y'all are not being genocided. So stop it. Cut the crap. Cut the crap. You have a whole 50% of your population in rebellion. And you somehow want to blame somebody else. Okay, put all the black people in jail. And what will you have, Nick? What will you have? What will you have? You have an aging population. You don't have any kids, and neither does a lot of the people who look and think like you. You convinced to kill your babies, convinced that, people should just come over here and take what you have. And he's talking about it's a genocide. It's not. It's not. It is what it is. And I'm not saying that he doesn't say this, but I hear him. He's like, we're being genocide. No, you're not. This is self-inflicted.
And by the way, about Hitler, let's talk a little bit about Hitler. Hitler has been used as a buzzword for 80 years to prevent anybody from talking about any of this. Whenever anybody says that Jewish people have too much influence in the Western world, they say Hitler. Whenever somebody says it's maybe a bad idea for America to become majority non-white, people say Hitler. Whenever anybody says we need a strong executive that can actually do things, that can actually send people back over the border, they say Hitler. So we're defanging that. That has no power over us. Hitler, Nazi, these are particular words from a particular time that hold no weight over us. That holds no weight over me. I'll call them cool. I'll say the uniforms look cool. I'll say whatever I want about it. That's not my moral language. I don't care about any of that. We want the fathers back in the home. We want God back in society. We want the nation to be strong. And yes, by the way, we want the country to be majority white. And you can say Hitler until you're blue in the face. I still want those things. I don't care. Nobody cares. So Kevin Roberts says, let's go win. Family, free enterprise, let's go win. It's not going to cut it. What are they arguing for on the Democratic side? We're going to make the buses free. We're going to make the groceries cheaper. We're going to make housing affordable. What are they saying on the right? Free enterprise, family, and anti-Semitism. And another thing, does anybody...
Yeah, so I looked at that, you guys, and I was like, definitely a cry for help. I personally believe that white people are under attack, so I actually agree with him. But the way that he's going about it is like you're attacking other white people. I'm sorry, Jews look like you. Y'all all y'all got. Like, you can't rely on brown Palestinian people. Pick a struggle, Nick. You're fighting the very people who look like you, who happen to be kind of trying to preserve the white race. But then you're talking about, oh, Palestinian children. Palestinians are the one who are coming over here and not going to be majority white when they come over here. So it's just confusing. Like, I don't get this whole MAGA movement, this whole America first, and then you're against white people who make this place great. They just so happen to be Jewish. I'm sorry, the everyday white person, everyday white American female is not making the impact that a lot of the Jews are making. Actually, they're part of the problem. Here to tell you, the liberal white women are part of the problem. And you're mad at the Jews. It's so weird. And I can't take these people seriously. It's so, it's a reason why President Trump just doesn't listen to these people, because this is Nick Fuentes, who says that he wants the country to be majority white, but then when white looking people like Jewish people come over, make the place better, you side with Palestinians. You can't make this up, y'all. You can't make this up. You can't make it up. He is almost doing the same thing that he's accusing white people of doing. You're going against people who make the country better, who share your same complexion. It's kind of weird. All because they have too much power. Well, how did they get the power? White people gave it to them. Yep. Bro, power is something that you garner. You garner power. You get it. If this was a majority white country and it's no longer a majority white country, who do you think it's to blame? White people. But instead of you calling out who you're supposed to be calling out, which is most of the white people who are in rebellion, you get mad at the Jews because they took the power that Y'all freely are giving up to Palestine. It's not even Jews. You're giving it up to everybody. To everybody. To everybody. That's where this whole DEI thing was. That's where this whole Voting Rights Act. Why would you allow people who are minorities to get an extra seat in Congress just because they're minorities? That's y'all. That's all white people. That's what y'all have done to yourself, and you've allowed your leaders to do to you. That's not Jews. That's what y'all have allowed to happen. And so you have to take some responsibility for that. Now, when it comes to Tucker talking to him, here's my problem, you guys. Here's my problem with Tucker talking to Nick Fuentes. My issue. Hold on, guys. Uh-oh. My issue with Tucker talking to Nick Fuentes is the fact the way he talked to Ted Cruz. So y'all remember that interview back when he was talking to Ted Cruz, and he gave Ted Cruz the business. It was so distasteful. Oh my God, let me see if I can pull it. Let me see if I can pull it up. The Tucker Ted Cruz interview was so freaking distasteful when he talked about the Jews. Hold on. It was so distasteful, y'all. It was it was actually disgusting, actually. Uh Hold on. Here we go.
Israel will be cursed. And from my perspective, I want to be on the blessing side of things.
Of those who bless the government of Israel?
Those who bless Israel is what it says. It doesn't say the government of, it says the nation of Israel. So that's in the Bible. As a Christian, I believe that.
Where is that?
I can find it to you. I don't have the scripture off the tip of my. You pull out the phone and use the Google.
It's in Genesis. So you're quoting a Bible phrase. You don't have context for it and you don't know where in the Bible it is, but that's like your theology? I'm confused. What does that even mean?
Tucker.
I'm a Christian. I want to know what you're talking about.
Okay. Where does my support for Israel come from? Number one, because biblically we're commanded to support Israel. But number two,
Well, hold on.
I'm not holding on.
Hold on. You're a senator, and now you're throwing out theology, and I am a Christian, and I am allowed to weigh in on this. We are commanded as Christians to support the government of Israel?
We are commanded to support Israel. And what
does that mean, Israel?
We're told those who bless Israel will be blessed.
But what? Hold on. Define Israel. This is important. Are you kidding? This is a majority Christian country.
Define Israel? Do you not know what Israel is? That would be the country you've asked like 49 questions about.
So that's what Genesis, that's what God is talking about.
The nation of Israel, yes.
So is that the current borders, the current leadership? He's talking about the political entity called Israel?
He's talking about the nation of Israel. Yeah, nations exist, and he's discussing a nation. A nation was the people of Israel.
Is the nation
They're the descendants
God's
of
referring
Abraham.
to in Genesis, is that the same as the country run by Benjamin Netanyahu right now?
Yes. Growing up in Sunday school, I was taught from the Bible,
Okay.
those who bless it.
Tucker had all that smoke for Ted Cruz. Y'all, Tucker had all the smoke for Ted Cruz. Did y'all not see that? Did y'all not see that? And so when he when he says, oh, well, I don't have to be tough on Nick Fuentes, it's fakey to me. And I used to like Tucker. Tucker from California. I just keep saying Tucker is from California. That should let you guys know everything that you need to know about what's happening in this moment. So Tucker got all that smoke for Ted Cruz. And Nick Fuentes comes in Tucker's space, and he basically was nice to Nick. And I didn't feel like he should or shouldn't have been nice. I feel like if you're going to decide who you're not going to be nice to, make it the person who came for you, came for your dad, came for your son, and push him a little bit. And so, rightfully so, Ben Shapiro was upset about it. And I think that Ben is such a great communicator because he was able to say on Megyn Kelly, like, why he was so upset about it. So he talked about it in the Megyn Kelly, and I can show you guys the clip of Megyn Kelly. She copped out too, which was so strange. It was so strange that she copped out, and I like Megyn Kelly, but she copped out so heavy.
Planning to
y'all.
move out of state soon? Peak moving season is around the corner. Make sure to lock in your
a right wing that
moral, and it's anti-Christian, which this guy is supposed to not like pointed and cross-examining on Dave Smith's show, and he went on another big show. He's been getting more and more and the
explain how Christian Zionists are actually wonderful people.
Tucker is very quick. Our beef is not with each other.
I'm not. Okay. Then I'm going to speak out about that, and I'm going to point out that there is a long pattern.
By the way,
I agree with him. He did the interview that he wanted to do.
Hold on, y'all. I'm going to find it. But basically, Megyn Kelly was like, oh, well, I don't think I should say anything about, Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro basically said, like, you make a living for commenting on these things. You make a living commenting on what people do on the left and the right. And for you to not make a comment about whether or not Tucker should have pressed Nick Fuentes a little bit more is just not cool. Or for you to not make a comment about whether Candace Owens is out of line in her accusing Turning Point of an inside job is not cool. And her response was, well, I'm not the police of the internet. Hold on. She was like, I'm not the mother of the internet. I'm not the mother of the internet. And he was like, but you make a living off of these things. Like, don't say you're not the mother of the internet now. Like, please, let's not go there. Hold on. Let me see if I can get it. She was like, well, I'm not the mother of the internet. Hold on. Candace actually plays it.
it's hard.
I'm just going to tell you, business owner to business owner.
Candace
you need
plays
to make
it.
more videos, and you need to make them more often.
Hard to think about the holidays when everything, when the Daily Wire was the outlet covering Erica's.
Zorn
You know, Ben has a real thing. This in large part due to you guys.
Trump is occupied.
Me to be like, now everyone gets to see what.
Good idea at the time.
Here we go, y'all.
I think I felt differently after I saw what he did with Nick Fuentes, and after he proceeded, in my opinion, to spend the subsequent weeks doing literally nothing to fight the left. I say this with sadness because Tucker used to be, I think, a deeply important part of the conservative push to win. The number of times that Tucker Carlson has mentioned Zohran Mamdani since October 5th on his show is once. And it was in the context of Marjorie Taylor Greene and Tucker Carlson talking about the appeal of Zohran Mamdani. Just by way of contrast, not because I'm a perfect representative here, but because you've talked about Zohran Mamdani a lot. A lot of us have. Since October 5th, I did 17 separate shows on Zohran Mamdani, including 4 in the last week before the election. Okay, because when you're orienting against the left, you really should orient against the left.
Agree. I agree 1,000% as to what he said about that. And here's why, you guys. Like I said, the people on the left do it. And for the right to just be so divided over things that, it's just no question whether or not we should all put our vices toward Zohran Mamdani, who is literally going to destroy one of the largest cities in our country, and pushing socialism, even though you know that's not a good thing. Instead of you guys spending time on educating your voters, you're allowing your voters to be emotional, almost the same way that the left is, and watching you go back and forth about things that don't even like they don't matter.
About it.
Is that what Candace is accusing Erica of?
Yes.
Of murdering her own husband?
She's accusing.
Hold on, here we go.
Again, this is why I think you and I differ on our angle with regard to, for example, Candace Owens. I think that what Candace Owens is doing right now is evil. It is evil what she is doing right now. Right. Okay, and I say that again.
But what? Because I didn't opine on whether it's evil or not. But my position is it's really none of my business. And
why is it? But I have a question. Why is it none of your business? I mean, you comment on these things for a living.
I'm not mother of the internet.
No, but if this were on the left and somebody were accusing Charlie Kirk of his wife having murdered him, I assume that you would be talking about it.
Is that what Candace is accusing Erica of?
Yes.
Of murdering her own husband?
She's accusing TPUSA insiders and other members of the right wing, including Seth Dillon, of being involved in the murder of Charlie Kirk. Yes.
Come on. And I think Megan is, and I love the comments because they were basically saying Megan is trying to play both sides. She really is. She doesn't want to say, she doesn't want to accuse anybody. She's trying to be friends with everybody. The problem is that Candace comes at Megan all the time, and they don't even like each other. But whatever. For her to say that she didn't know that Candace was accusing Erica Kirk, and I say that to say Candace has accused TPUSA. Well, who is over TPUSA? Erica Kirk. And so if Candace is going to say that it's an inside job that Charlie Kirk got unalived, then you're basically saying that Erica Kirk possibly have been involved. I mean, that's just the truth. Now, I do believe that that Ben's wordplay is to make it, everybody emotional and make it a little bit more effective. But they all do that. They all do that. Candace Owens does that. Megyn Kelly does that. Tucker Carlson does that when he says, you're going to send my children to die. You want to send my children to die. They all make that wordplay. So it's fair game. And so I think that Ben Shapiro was right. Is hey, any other time you would be commenting on this, and for Megyn Kelly to be like, oh, I'm not mother of the internet. I mean, well, you commented on Diddy. You don't know Diddy. You don't know what happened. Cassie was down with it. And you was so hard on Diddy. She's hard on everybody else. And for whatever reason, she's kind of riding the fence with this whole Jew thing. Now, and I was glad that Ben Shapiro called her out about it. Ben Shapiro has been super, super impressive for me, you guys. And let me make this clear. Let me make this very, very clear. I am not getting paid by any Jew. However, I will take it. Look, if you got it, I will take it. I'm not getting paid, but what I am is a gut player, you guys. So Ben Shapiro was on what was the show that he was on today? Hold on. It was like, oh shoot. Hold on. I can tell you what it was. The show that he was on today is called Trigonometry. Hold on. Trigonometry. And I just thought that he broke it down so
think of it as like a TV.
So he was on the show Trigonometry. Let me
ad with a catalog component where I can choose on the Roku app and immediately it's going to send me a
And I take your point. However, what is undeniable is that the online world bleeds into the real world, which we saw with wokeism. And partly the reason that wokeism grew so powerful, in my opinion, is a dearth of courage and integrity on the left, where they saw the extremists run rampant and nobody was going to say, stood up and went, hang on, this is nonsense, stop doing that. And now I'm seeing the same thing happen on the right with exceptions like people like yourself, and I'm going, are we not just seeing the mirror image of what happened in 2014, 2015?
I mean, I think we are, and it's very, very concerning to me. I mean, I'm encouraged that I think there are a lot of people who have been coming out and saying that this is not appropriate, that this is not something that you can quote unquote side with or unify with, and I think that's good. But I do agree that one of the polarized aspects of American politics is this idea that as long as you're quote unquote on my side, and we don't actually define what on my side means based on, say, principle. We instead define it based on what we supposedly oppose. But even then, we don't necessarily oppose the same things. But we kind of broadly just throw up our hands. They're on my side. They're on my side. And that dynamic leads to polarized sides where, I mean, the future of this, if the more radical wings were to win on the right and the more radical wing continues to win on the left, you end up with an electoral future that looks essentially red versus brown, right? And that's not an electoral future I think that's good for any American, especially because the vast majority of Americans are neither of those things and don't like either of those things.
And look, we can dress it up, oh, they're on my side, but let's talk about what it not only for the conservative.
I think that is right. I do. And I think that is an easy path to ensuring that you, quote unquote, don't lose people. But I don't think that it's a good path for not losing the country.
Hold on. He says,
a gay race traitor who shouldn't be president of the United States because he's in an intermarriage. Am I allowed to respond to scorn? I feel like scorn is a pretty good response to that. And that doesn't actually deserve a debate or a fulsome discussion. And that, in fact, treating that as though that is a rational.
Hold on.
I think this idea that you're not allowed to have scorn for views that you believe are damaging or deeply immoral, like truly bad. Like, for example, not even arguments, just statements. Like, you know, Nick Fuentes calling J.D. Vance's wife a Jate. Like, that's not an argument. Or that or like, how are you supposed to respond to the argument that he has made, for example, that J.D. Vance is a fat gay race traitor who shouldn't be president of the United States because he's in an intermarriage? Am I allowed to respond to scorn? I feel like scorn is a pretty good response to that. And that doesn't actually deserve a debate or a fulsome discussion. And that, in fact, treating that as though that is a rational idea is a disservice to rationality. But if you treat all forms of that response as cancellation, that's probably how you get to this math.
And of course, one of the other things that happened, and I think the woke left deserves all the scorn and blame for this, is what they've done to words. I see people now saying, well, how dare you call Nick Fuentes a Nazi? I'm going, well, I'm not insulting him. I am describing his views.
Correct. I mean, there's been an attempt, because the left has overused all of these terms, they've now become meaningless. And that means that when you do that, in the rhetorical space, you actually end up destroying the systemic immunity that people have to bad things.
Exactly.
So if you call everything racist, then the response typically is, okay, nothing's racist. But that's not true. We know that some things are actually racist. If you say that black people are innately inferior, that's racist, right? That's a racist statement. But if I say racist, there's a group of people who will immediately say, Well, no, you're just using racist as a club in order to shut down conversation because the left used it in that way. And so a sort of Pavlovian response is developed where if you use a term the way it's properly supposed to be used, then it's treated the same as if you were improperly using the term. So the term itself loses all meaning. And then, I guess we have to re-argue that issue. I mean, I guess that's the idea. But again, some of these are not arguments. Some of these are impulses or emotional outbursts or insults or trollery. And so that's not an honest conversation. That's not a discussion.
Yeah. And I love that he said that. I love that he said that, like, I'm allowed to respond with scorn. And I love that he was able to articulate that, um, as opposed to saying it's cancel culture, because people are saying that Jewish people are wanting to get rid of free speech. No. He's not saying get rid of free speech. What he's saying is this is speech that I condemn, and I would want people who I call my friends to condemn, or I would want people who I fund, or Jews have given money, Rupert Murdoch in Tucker's case, and Daily Wire, in Candace Owens' case, I would want them to condemn it as well, and not talk to these people like they're somehow, oh, well, they're okay, they're not that bad, their ideas are not that bad. And I think that that's fair as someone who believes in loyalty and believes that, if somebody helped you, and if somebody gave you a job, if somebody gave you a position, which in Tucker Carlson's case, in Candace Owens's case, we would not know who they are without a Jew. I mean, we wouldn't. We would not know who Tucker is, and we probably would never know who Candace Owens is. The Jews have made incredible marks in the media, and the fact that Tucker is as big as he is and Candace is as big as she is because they were once platformed by the Jews. So for them to try and to just kind of turn on the people who helped them and just go to Nick Fuentes, and Nick Fuentes hasn't done anything for them at all. Nick Fuentes, to me, is a little bit of, he's selfish. He is. I mean, he's a little bit of a kid in that kind of a way. Isolationist. He doesn't understand the value of relationships, and for them to risk the relationship of the Jews who have helped them, all to be able to talk to a Nick Fuentes and let Nick Fuentes's voice become one of the primary voices on the right. I think Ben Shapiro is right to be annoyed and irritated. Nick Fuentes is so funny because even after Nick Fuentes was on Tucker Carlson's show, he's still talking junk. Saying Tucker doesn't get him. He's like, oh, Tucker was very nice to me, but I'm alone. They don't get it. We're on the outside. Still saying that kind of stuff. So Tucker kind of risked everything. So did Candace, all to side with someone who doesn't really get it. At least the Jews get relationship, and they value relationship and loyalty and honor and dignity. Those are all principles that I feel like this younger generation, the Nick Fuentes, the Zoomers, maybe can learn a little bit. And so I kind of get frustrated when I'm listening to a Nick Fuentes and he somehow believes that if he had power like the Jews, that he would do anything differently than what was done to him. The Groypers, when that congressperson went against him, who was the guy that went against Nick Fuentes? There was a congressman that Nick Fuentes goes against. Is it and he caused that guy to lose. What was the guy's name? What was the guy's name that Nick criticized? And caused him to lose. Hold on. I'm about to get the name, y'all. He went against Joe Kent. So Nick Fuentes, when he was supporting Joe Kent for office, he actually says why he did it. He said, so Nick Fuentes, congressional candidate Joe Kent, he caused them to lose. He went against him heavy. And so when he was asked about Joe Kent by Tucker Carlson, basically he said, Joe Kent promised that he would not disavow me. And he did. And because he disavowed me, I came at him heavy. And we caused him to lose. Nick is basically doing the same thing that they accuse the Jews of doing. And you guys, it bothers me because people who don't have anything, they haven't made any kind of contributions to life, are coming at the Jews. I'm not saying that everybody, but especially these regular normies are coming at the Jews, but they have no other alternative. They say President Trump is siding with Benjamin Netanyahu. Who would you like him to side with? Like, who would you like him to side with? Would you like him to side with Nicaragua, the president of Nicaragua? You don't like the president of Hungary. You don't like Benjamin Netanyahu. Who would you like him to side with? Like, y'all somehow think that if y'all were given the money and the power and the influence and the relationships that the Jews have, that y'all would somehow do better. And y'all don't. You caused a Republican candidate to lose, all because he disavowed what you said in public. And you think that you would be any different if you had the power and the influence that the Jews have. That's just so rich, you guys. That's so amazing to me that these self-righteous Catholics, Christians are willing to, quote unquote, wag their finger about Jewish influence. And instead of them owning a business, going to law school, running for office, trying to make things better like President Trump, you rather just attack Jews. It's so like you would be better. I already know that if Black folks were in power, we would pray for the Jews back. We would be like, please, please. Look how Black folks act on their jobs at the DMV. Like, Black folks with power are awful. Poor white folks with power are awful. I don't know why y'all think that y'all would be better than Jews. If you like, you can't handle it. And it's so rich to me, y'all. It really is that they somehow feel that if they had the power, if they had the money, if they had the influence, that you wouldn't do the exact same thing that you accuse the Jews of. It's crazy. It's crazy. And so shout out to Brandon Tatum. Like, I really like that he's kind of been standing his ground, you know, being very loyal to the Jews. Shout out to him. Like, I feel like, and you guys, I'm not getting paid for this. It just makes sense. You know, that's what my song says. It just makes sense. I don't need to get paid to put my spidey senses through this. And it's so sad that Americans have gotten to this point where they don't understand that there are certain people who give and certain people who take. And there's a lot of takers on the American side, and a lot of givers on the Jews side. I'm not saying that there's not takers on the Jew side, but for us to somehow believe that the things that are going on with this country are because of one subset of people who have done nothing but try to build and make this place better, it is just amazing to me. Anywho, y'all, my last story. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to talk about is y'all, what are black folks, especially black men, gonna do about Roland Martin? The minute that black men start talking about or asking questions of this fat Negro, he thinks that he is the speaker he's the black whisperer or something. Y'all, Charlemagne, Stephen A, Jermaine Dupri, like what are y'all doing? Letting this Negro talk to y'all any kind of way. Y'all are grown men. If you have a question, you can answer it. If you have a criticism, you can answer it. But the mere fact that he thinks that he can come at you guys and say, "Oh, you don't know what the hell you talking about." Your fat behind have been talking about this for how long, and you still ain't nowhere because you don't know what you're talking about. Anybody can ask about the Democrat Party and what they are doing for black folks, or what they are doing for any kind of people, or what they're doing for this nation. Anybody can see that the Democrat Party are the reason that this government is shut down. And the reason that the cost of things are so high, because they let Joe Biden with his dementia walk around with the auto pen, signing stupid stuff and giving away all this money, not even knowing where it went. And you're going to ask me and tell me I don't know what the hell I'm talking about? Like, when are y'all going to stand up to him? When are y'all going to stand up to him? Let's look at this dude.
I'll be honest, my first therapy session did not go well, but it taught me something important. You don't get the best result.
Be on the Daily Show and him talking about DEI, and I was just like, okay, y'all, I've been busy. So I looked at it 2 or 3 times today, and we talked about some of these things before that he laid out in it. And so I wanted to deconstruct it because I do have some thoughts about what was said. So we're going to take it from the top, and then I'm going to walk y'all through this and share some things with you that hopefully you can be more well-rounded and informed about the reality of what we're talking about with DEI. Go.
Called Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, or DEI. It means more fair hiring policies, new anti-discrimination rules for the workplace, and sensitivity training seminars. And the first thing it led to was a shitload of ads.
Real progress on diversity and inclusion doesn't happen without real work.
Hold on, y'all. This is the one. This is
celebrate diversity.
This is the old one. Hold on. Sorry.
If you're Democrats,
2 days ago.
If you're Democrats, do me a favor. Do not listen to people like Charlemagne the God.
Oh.
Okay? So Charlemagne was talking about this government shutdown, and he made a comment as related to what Democrats should be doing. Y'all have that? Okay, play it.
You know what I don't understand, Mimi, and I don't know, maybe you can explain it to me. The health care is going to go up anyway because of the big, beautiful bill, because that didn't include the extension of the tax credits to keep the cost down. So if it's going up anyway, what's the point of Democrats taking the stand to keep the government still closed?
At this point, you're right, because the premiums, which the open enrollment started this weekend, November 1st, and so people are getting those letters in the mail. In fact, one person in Utah, a woman in Utah, she told ABC News that she opened her bill and saw that her monthly premium had already jumped from about $400 a month, Charlamagne, to over $2,000 a month. And so at this point, it's like, what's going to happen? Is it retroactive? Like, how is this going to work as we continue to go forward? So you're absolutely right.
And the premiums are set for a year. So at this point, if the premiums have already gone up, if they set for a year, at least give the people some relief and get the government back open.
Do not listen to what the hell he just said. That, to me, is beyond idiotic.
Beyond idiotic. What was wrong with what he said, y'all? He was basically saying that the premiums are going up, period. Americans are sicker. The big, beautiful bill is no longer going to continue to fund Obamacare, which has put the government in a position where they have to pay for people who show up at the hospital, aka illegals. Y'all can spin it. Oh, there's no illegals are getting health care. Yes, they are. When they go to the hospital, they go to the emergency room, that bill has to get paid. The doctor has to get paid. The lights in the hospital have to get paid. The CNA, the nurses, they all have to get paid. And it gets paid by the government. That is a fact. And so what Charlamagne is saying is the big, beautiful bill already stopped that from happening. Premiums have already gone up. And then why not give the people some relief by opening up the government and stopping all this chaos? And you get from this fat bastard, he don't know what the hell he's talking about. Beyond idiotic. That's all what he always does. That's what he did to Stephen A. Smith. That's what he did to Jermaine Dupri. Anybody who asks any kind of questions, when Tyrese came out about the Democrats, he always goes to shaming the black man like he's so smart. Well, if you were so smart, then you would be focused on your health care and stop eating. I don't know why y'all letting this fat man tell y'all anything about anything.
Because this battle that we're seeing is not solely about healthcare. Rebecca, I don't know what the hell that was. That was just bullshit.
I don't know what the hell that was. I don't know what that was.
What I heard was an exchange of two people who don't understand how this works. So what they're talking about.
The black liberal, especially a black liberal woman, you don't understand how it works. Oh, I understand. You don't want me to understand how it works. You don't want to admit that I understand how it works. He basically said exactly how it worked. You don't want me to understand how it works. Like, this is great. They always say beyond idiotic. You're so stupid. You need to read a book. You don't know what's going on. You don't know politics.
Are the health insurance premiums that are in the marketplace. The marketplaces are the state exchanges. The state exchanges is because of Obamacare, aka the Affordable Care Act. Here's the thing. Those premiums are effective January 1, 2026. You get about 60 days notice in most states. Some states put out their new expected premiums back in October, some kind of at the end of September. But this is giving notice of, hey, if you continue at the level of health insurance plan that you have, this is what you're going to start to pay effective January 1. And so the erroneous, I mean, this isn't just misinformation here. This starts to look like this is intentional disinformation. And for the audience, disinformation is where you have bad, misleading information that's intentionally targeted to a certain demographic. The demographic here is black voters. The reason why is that black voters are the base of the Democratic Party. Right now, the Democrats are in lockstep saying that, no, we're not going to give you the votes that you need in order to end this government shutdown. You Republicans need to come to us and work out a deal. And so by trying to talk to black folks, to them, black Black folks can then talk to Democratic members of the House and Democratic members of the Senate to get Democrats to back down. That's what Charlemagne is trying to do here. What should happen if I was advising the Democratic Party is tell them, hey, look, there are some Republicans who have introduced clean resolution plus extension of the health insurance credits, sorry, not health insurance credits, but some of the discounts that the government will pay. So people aren't paying those exorbitant health insurance prices starting January 1. So this is disinformation that we're seeing that Charlemagne is doing. This is not just mistaken information. This is intentional, going after Black voters.
Noem.
That's just not true.
The reason I think it's bad advice is because when you are in political battles, you maximize your leverage.
You don't have any leverage. This is the disinformation that's going to Black voters. Roland Martin saying that the Democrats have leverage. They do not. They don't. They're literally keeping it shut down because they're counting on the fact that Black folks, their Black voters, are so ignorant that they don't understand that, and they'll just blame Republicans. The clean CR was passed. There's no subsidies for illegal aliens in there. There's just no. They want illegal aliens to still get health care, and that's it's not going to happen. So Roland Martin is basically acting as though the Democrats are acting in good faith, like they're trying to negotiate normal things with Republicans, and it's just not true. And that's why Charlemagne said, well, if healthcare premiums are the reason you guys are not voting to keep the government open and pass the clean CR, then just do it's healthcare is already going up, but you guys are keeping the government closed and it's not helping to fix anything. That is the truth. There is nothing that the Democrats can negotiate at this point that will work. They're keeping it closed in order to keep the chaos. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. Obamacare was a setup from the beginning. It was way too expensive, and they thought that they can kick the can down the road and keep letting each generation pay for it. And President Trump said, hey, we have to stop that. And there are other things that Americans can do. And I don't know, maybe President Trump is going to incentivize businesses to pay a little bit more in healthcare for their employees. I don't know what the Republicans are going to do. All I know is that we cannot continue to kick the can down the road and pay for illegal aliens with this healthcare bill, the Obamacare. And so my issue is that what Charlemagne said was not wrong. It wasn't wrong. Just like what Jermaine Dupri said wasn't wrong. Just like what Stephen A. Smith said was not wrong. But you got this bro with all of his stooges, his Black folks that don't know what they're talking about and that they are intellectually dishonest, think that he can talk to anybody like that. Y'all need to get him in check, Uncle Roro. Like, you don't get no respect out here in these streets like that. Like, these men are men. They can ask a question. They can ask a question. But he's so lockstep with the Democrat Party that he goes against the people that he swear that he care about. And I don't know, Charlemagne, if like Stephen A., if y'all keep taking this from this fat Negro, you crazy? Who you think you talking to, bro, is what we expect y'all to be saying. The hood want to hear y'all say, who are you talking to? Roland Martin? Roly Poly Oly? Like, who are you talking to? Because as long as I'm asking you, and I don't ask you any questions, just like you didn't ask Mondami no questions, just like you didn't ask Kamala Harris no real questions, then you are okay with it. I shouldn't have to be sitting up here getting disrespected by you. I don't know. I don't know how much of y'all gonna take. I don't know how much y'all gonna take of that, and y'all still get the respect of black folks. I don't know how much y'all gonna take of this dude. Nah, we're not doing that. We're not doing that, Roland. Anywho, you guys, well, thank you for hanging in there with me, y'all. Hopefully, I taught you something. I know I started just real annoyed, y'all. I started really annoyed because I just don't like this whole Republican disloyalty going against President Trump. I'm not with it, and I'll never be with it. And Republicans need to get on board. These people, like, where else we gonna go? We gonna go to the people that's trying to sell out your future to immigrants? What we gonna go to the weak white people who have no children? Where else we gonna go? Where else we gonna go? Where else we gonna go? We got to stick together. You gonna go to the ignorant black folks in the hood? No. We gotta work with what we got in order to get this thing right. So anywho, I'm so grateful that you watch. Please hit the like, the share this podcast, subscribe to this podcast. I'm so grateful that you watch. I'm so grateful that you tune in. I thank you for your continued support. I'm really, really trying to keep this channel going. You guys, it's a little difficult sometimes, when, life be lifing, but I really think that I have a voice that you guys need an opinion or thoughts that are interesting, that might be different because of, my background. And like, I'm conservative with a little bit of flavor, That's why I get President Trump. I started this thing where it says conservative with flavor. That's the secret sauce. Y'all, and we're going to have that if we're going to get people on board. Blexit is over on the HBCU campus. You need conservatism with Flexit. Call me so I can talk to these young people. I know how to talk to them. I got it. I got this. I have a gift of being able to talk to these young folks. But anywho, you guys, so grateful. And again, please like, share, comment, subscribe. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Hit the notification button so you get the notification when I go live. And until next time, peace.